Hey guys, what's up? It's Kevin for the win, and we're back for another edition of Diablo 3. Today on the channel, we are playing the brand new Blizzard Hydra build. The reason why it's a brand new build is because Etch Sigil, as I've said in the past, got nerfed. So it no longer works with anything besides Energy Twister. However, in place of that, there is a offhand weapon that is called Winter Flurry. And Winter Flurry pretty much allows you to now cast, or allows you to do 25% cold damage more, as well as does a up to 150% damage modifier to Hydras that are basically when your enemies are affected by Blizzard, Hydras do 150% more damage. So basically what you want to do now is you're going to use the Typhoon set, pretty much the head, the chest, the shoulders, the glove you want Tasker and Theo. The weapon's going to be Death Wish. The belt is going to be the Witching Arrow, but could be anything really. Typhoon's pants, Typhoon boots. And then you're going to use a Halo of Conventional Elements for your ring, Winter Flurry, Ancient Blood Bracers, and the Traveler's Pledge. So what's going to end up happening here is now you're going to use Blizzard. You're taking out Black Hole. Blizzard, you're going to use that one in particular to keep it up. Arcane Torrent Flame Ward to get a little bit of defense, and because of Death Wish, you'll get a bit of attack boost. Teleport, Storm Armor, that's just there to give you a little bit more toughness. Magic Weapon in this case, because you want a little bit of power boost. And then Frost Hydra for Hydras. In your KNOX cube, which I'm going to bring up on the screen in a second, but first, Galvanizing Wand is what you need as an ability. Then you want Unwavering Will. On top of Unwavering Will, you are going to want a Audacity, and then an Illusionist. Those are the 4 abilities you're going to run on this armor. In the cube, Serpent Sparker, because it gives you 500% damage modifier, the Magistrate, and the Ring of Royal Grandeur, so that you can mix mosh pieces together and still get all their set bonuses. So I'm going to do a Greater Rift 60, 65, 70, and I'm going to try to fit a 75 in here, perhaps. Let's see. I'm going to bring it up here. I'm going to try to do... this armor is capable of already doing 80 and 85 without a lot of optimization. We're going to start, actually, on 65, I believe I just clicked. So we'll go through here, and I'm going to show you how now the armor works. So you don't have Black Hole anymore, so you're going to be casting Blizzard first, and then using Hydras. You can also cast the Hydras, because they do a lot of damage. When you get to an Elite Pack, or a pack of mobs that look like you're going to have a hard time fighting them, that's really when you want to use your Blizzard the most. You want to keep that Blizzard up as much as possible, which means on your armor, you're going to have to actually not only keep an eye on you getting cooldown on your armor set pieces, but you definitely need now resource cost reduction. So you want to have resource cost reduction in your armor set for this one. Why? Because it'll cost a lot less to cast Blizzard, which is where you're going to get a lot of your damage multipliers for your Hydras now, because any enemies that walk into that Blizzard, which is a great thing because in Diablo 3, pretty much any time a mob sees you, they're going to run directly towards you, so you can just cast the Blizzard and have it there, and they'll walk into it. So that's pretty much the strategy you want to use with this particular armor build, because now it's really you're relying on the Blizzard. Something you definitely need on this armor set is Bane of the Trap. Why? Because it says whenever your enemy is afflicted by a status effect, you do more damage. Well, here's the thing. When you get that gem up to level 25, it automatically casts slow on your enemy. So it gives yourself that status effect to then get the boost as well. And with Blizzard in particular, I've noticed in particular playtesting with this particular armor set, because I've been playtesting it all weekend when the update went live, is that Blizzard has a high chance of procuring that slow effect quite often, which allows you to do a lot more damage with Blizzard than you normally would do without the Bane of the Trap. So it's definitely one of the things you're going to focus on is Bane of the Trap. You want a Enforcer gem for your Hydras, because keep in mind that your Hydras are pets. That's why we're using Tasker and Theo in this build as well. So anything that you could do to boost up the pets is a good thing. Then you want Bane of the Stricken. You could start with Bane of the Powerful when you're working with low Greater Rifts. The reason for that is because the Typhoon set, which is Veil of the Typhoon, its official name, is actually going to be your Season 22 starter build for the wizard. So this armor is something that you're going to be able to get very early if you pick the wizard class for Season 22 of Diablo. And as you can see here, it doesn't require as much modification as our armors, you know. You just kind of need to get a good Tasker and Theo, which drops very early in a seasonal journey. The hardest weapon, really, that you're going to be able to try to have to go for is Death Wish. Death Wish sword is a sword that, in general, doesn't have a lot of RNG. It doesn't drop very often, I should say. So that it becomes quite problematic early on in your seasonal journey trying to find it. So definitely that's going to be a bit of a challenge to get that. You don't really want to run the Serpent Spectre wand actually in your hand. The reason for that is when it's in your hand, all it does is allows you to cast double Hydra. You don't get the 500% damage boost. You only get that damage boost when you put it in KNOX Cube. So it's very worth noting that that's something you're better off having Death Wish. People are going to wonder, why is Death Wish here? Well, I have to show you when I get to actually a Rift Guardian. It's usually when I'm going to be using my Disintegrate Flame Ward. It's usually when I get to a Rift Guardian because it allows me to buff the Hydras in particular, which is pretty much going to do a lot of damage anyway with Blizzard, but that's why it's in here. It's there to give you that extra boost of power when you run into a elite mob pack that's taking you a little longer to take down, as well as when you get to Rift Guardians that perhaps are taking you a little bit of longer to take down. You could swap the Disintegrate with Black Hole, but then you're going to not really have that great of a weapon to really use with the Wizard, so that's why I would say probably recommend just keeping Disintegrate Flame Ward in there, because as you go higher up in the Greater Rifts, you're going to have more opportunities to particularly cast it. Alright, so my plan here, I cast the Blizzard and then drop 2 Hydras. The Hydras were already there, so I dropped the Blizzard. So each of those Hydras were doing 150% more damage on top of the Spectre weapon that's in the cube, as well as the Magistrate, which gave it a buff as well, so because they now cast Frost Nova. So I was doing a tremendous amount of damage in a non-optimized armor in a Greater Rift. I believe this was 65 or 60. I don't recall correctly. That's why sometimes you probably shouldn't just click too fast. Also, keep in mind when I'm recording these things, the screen that I use is a little bit smaller than I'm used to dealing with on a regular play. So keep that in mind sometimes. That's why sometimes I'm like, it might be 60, might be 65. Okay, it was Greater Rift 64-minute clear time. Alright, so now we're going to do a Greater Rift 65. As the Greater Rifts go up, it'll take a little bit longer to take down the mobs, but the strategy is really never going to change here. You're going to cast the Blizzard when you have a good amount of mobs on the screen. Then you will cast a Hydra. That Hydra will do a lot of damage to all the enemies that are in the Blizzard. And then thanks to Bane in the Trap, usually when you cast a Blizzard, it will slow enemies down, and then you're just going to pick them up with the Hydra. And this is pretty much all you really need for the armor. In between intervals, you want to be casting your Storm Armor as well as your Magic Weapon, just that you can get a little bit more defense as well as an attack boost going. So that's why we do that, so we can procure shields, because the Wizard can be a bit squishy at times, depending on how high up of a Greater Rift you go. But I will say this for certain. A couple weeks back, for anybody that's been following all my videos in the playlist, and if you haven't seen it, the playlist of Diablo, I have many playlists. As to, or not playlists, but many videos in that playlist, leading all the way from Season 21 Journey to Season 22, covering various amount of armors. I'm going to be adding some new armors in this season, as I mentioned in the previous video. Leapquake Barbarian, which is something that people have been asking for, I will be focusing on next week. I also will be at some point in the near future doing the Savage armor for the Barbarian. That's the Season 22 starter build. I've already covered Mundanugu. I've already covered Valor. I'm going to be trying to do, as well as the Patterns of Justice armor set for the Monk. I'm going to be throwing in a couple of other sets that you haven't seen me do on the channel in a while, so this is going to be going through all the way from November to December. Then I'm going to be obviously revisiting certain sets like the Gears of Dreadland, which is a starter set for this season. I'm going to be revisiting the Aegis of Valor set again, which is your Crusader starter set. If you didn't see the last video, I did the highly requested Bombardment Crusader set, which is looking to be probably the definitive S-tier meta build for Season 22, which everybody's pretty much going to be using. I think Blizzard Hydra, though, has a very good chance of being pretty high tier. I'm not necessarily going to say S tier, but it's going to have a at least A tier implications with it, because it's deceptively very strong. Those Blizzard, you know, they didn't really buff Blizzard, but what they did do to the Hydra set in general, obviously the Veil set, particularly the Typhoon set, is what they did was, it used to be 15,000 damage for the six-piece bonus. What they did was they added 5,000 to that. So now it does the 20,000, I believe, or 2,000% damage modifier. So that little 5,000% boost to the set actually is significant, because although you lose Etch Sigil, which... The reason I say you lose Etch Sigil is because unless you had an old Etch Sigil that you weren't actually re-rolling right now, that you had just kept and was perfect, you don't have access to the old way it worked. Like, I'm fortunate that I still have access to my old Etch Sigil, so I could run the old S-tier variant for Typhoon, but believe it or not, after playtesting this armor against the old armor with the old legacy version of Etch Sigil, believe it or not, Blizzard Typhoon does way more damage, and it's got more bang for your buck, and you're able to micromanage your resources in this particular set actually a little bit better. Like I said, you don't have to cast Disintegrate to get defensive here, because you're doing a lot more damage that mobs pretty much you're steamrolling through as long as you cast Blizzard. So if you go the way of going heavy into your resource cost reduction, and you're able to also get cooldown reduction on this set, you can actually do a lot of fun things with this at very little optimization. Case in point, this Typhoon set that I'm using right now on the screen only has two pieces of armor augmented with gems of level 70 value or higher. So, and it's able to clear things fast. This is a very fast Greater Rift 65 we're talking about, folks. And here we go. Cast Blizzard. That Hydra that was right in front of it did a tremendous amount of damage thanks to Bane of the Trap and Enforcer and just the modifiers that have boosted Hydra in this season. So this is looking... I don't know if I could go as far as to say this might be the S-tier build for Hydra from now on, but this is looking very close to A-tier in my personal opinion. Now, keep in mind, when it comes to tier list, as I've said in the past here, it just says amount of usage, really, as to what armors people use the most. That doesn't necessarily mean that armors that are F-tier or C-tier or D-tier or B-tier or even A-tier cannot do the same as a S-tier armor. It just means that S-tier are the ones that are more frequently used. That was a 4-minute clear time again on Greater Rift 65. This is going to be Greater Rift 70. Blizzard Hydra, the strategy is never going to change, really. I can cast a Hydra, then I'll cast my Blizzard, or I can cast Blizzard first and then a Hydra, just clear through things. Always making sure that I have a Blizzard somewhere set up where enemies can just walk into the Blizzard, and then the Hydras will pick them up. In between those intervals, you need to cast your Storm Armor so that you have a bit more defense, a little bit more tankiness. Also, you want to cast a Magic Reflector right after you cast your Storm Armor, just so that you have a little bit more buffs, and you also get that little passive lightning effect that you see on the screen where you're able to do some little bit more extra damage. It's nice to have it. It doesn't do as much damage as you think it would, but it's just a little extra oomph to the set. Alright, so again, like I said, cast your Blizzards, then cast the Hydra, then you just kind of sit back. You don't always want to cast out your Hydras and put them in a different position until you know that you're, very far in. Because if you cast a Hydra and you don't really need it, and you take it away from a position when there's a lot of mobs, you're not really using this armor as effective as it can potentially be. Good thing is Teleport in the set allows me, in this particular dungeon layout, to just kind of, teleport through the stairs to get to a position that I want to get to. Also, Teleport, I should mention, when you cast Teleport on this particular build, you actually buffs your defense a little bit, so you're actually getting yourself a little bit more tanky, which is why the Storm Armor as well as Magic Reflector come into play in tangent with that as well. So again, like I said, just cast your Blizzard. Thanks to the way that the mobs are programmed in Diablo 3, they're always going to come charging at you, so that's why I like to use the Blizzard that Ruin that says just keep the Blizzard going longer and do more damage, because that is going to give you the most bang. You could cast a little Blizzard and it'll do like a status effect, and you might be able to get more out of it. But on higher greater risks where there's so many more mobs, my personal opinion with playtesting with this armor set, and keep in mind I've been doing this all weekend with this armor, I feel this is the better way to run it because it not only gives you a lot of area that it covers with Blizzard, but it does a lot more damage because things walk into it, which allows Bane of the Trap to go off a lot more, and allows your Hydras to pick off a lot more things as opposed to if that was dissipating. Also, if it was dissipating, I would have to cast my Blizzard much more frequently. This particular build allows me to keep a Blizzard up for a lot longer, so I don't have to waste more of my resource generation to be able to, you know, cast Blizzard. So that's why I feel like this is particularly the way to go with this. This is a build where, unfortunately, I cannot link you in the description to this armor set because there's really no definitive build for this as of yet. This is kind of my own build. I will try to write down those particular pieces that I used and then put them in the description. I know a lot of you have been asking me to make my armor sets on the D3 planner. Like I've mentioned in the past, when I make these videos, not always online. I have my head to the ground in a lot of different projects that I'm working on outside of YouTube. I'm not always near the internet. As you see, though, I always make sure to comment back when you guys leave comments. I always thank you for the likes and the subscribes that you've been giving me. Very, very surprised with the way the Diablo content has been well received on the channel. I cannot thank these guys enough for that support. That is quite unbelievable. When I started doing these Diablo videos, I didn't know if they would really work on the channel, and here we are. This should be like the 25th or 26th video that I've done so far, and you know, these guys are doing great. That Legacy of Dreams Poison Scythe build, the best performing video I've had on the channel so far. So thank you guys. I always get back to your comments. Always love to hear your suggestions when it comes to armor builds, what you think I should run on them, things you think I should take out, skills I should use, skills that I know. I love hearing from my audience, so definitely keep that up. Thank you for the positive comments as well. I try to do my best on here. I prefer to like to show you guys armors and how they do from a visual standpoint because I can show you all the information that's available to you and I can throw it on paper, but if you actually don't know how you should be timing your Hydras, case in point, how you should be casting your Blizzards, what type of mob density you should be looking for when you're attacking these mobs, you know, putting it on paper, you don't know these things. Showing it visually, which I think is very, very important, particularly for new players, or particularly for players on the Nintendo Switch platform of Diablo 3, that, you know, might just be getting their feet wet because Diablo 3 goes on sale quite a lot on the Nintendo Switch platform. That's the platform I play on. Everything that I played, though, on this particular platform works exactly the same on PC version, PS4, and Xbox One. We don't have Diablo 3 on PS5 or Xbox Series X, unless you buy, like, the PS4 version or the Xbox One version of Diablo and then play it on the backwards compatibility of those two systems. Diablo 4 is coming to PC eventually. I'm pretty sure it's coming to PS5 and Xbox Series X. It's a matter of when. I am looking, as I said earlier on in the video, to getting next-gen console. Can't find it in New York still. It's been quite a challenge trying to get my hands on a PS5. I'm waiting for the restock. Tried some mom-and-pop shops. Unfortunately, Sony did not send any consoles to the mom-and-pop shops this time around, and you know, with all the craziness going on in the world, it's kind of hard to get even in storefronts. So, like a lot of you, I'm waiting on the restock so I could get my hands on a next-gen console, so I can then start doing next-gen stuff on this particular channel. But don't fret, Diablo videos are not going anywhere. You're always going to get at least 3 Diablo videos in a week. This week was a bit different because I was trying out some Minecraft Dungeons videos. So if you're a fan of dungeon crawlers and you are interested in more than just Diablo, I definitely recommend checking out Minecraft Dungeons. It's a pretty fun Diablo light type of clone, is the best way I could say, set in the Minecraft universe. Not as deep and sophisticated or has as much heavy dungeon crawler aspects of Diablo 3. So keep that in mind if you're looking for something a bit more on the casual dungeon crawler side. Minecraft Dungeons is definitely something maybe worth your time, but you can definitely check out the first episode I did on the channel and check that out. But yeah, Diablo 3 videos are not going anywhere. We'll do at least 3 in a week. Usually it'll be Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Keep in mind that this video is going live on Friday, so we're on Friday. So keep in mind, this is the official start date for Season 22 of Diablo 3. Keep in mind, next week is Thanksgiving. So it's Thanksgiving week. So I'm just a quick programming note ahead of time. There will be videos on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. Thursday and Friday, because Thursday is Thanksgiving Day, and Friday is Black Friday, and I want to kind of keep an eye on what's going on with the PS5 situation, so I need to focus my time on trying to find the Black Friday deals in regards to that. There will not be any uploads. So I know there won't be an upload on Thursday or Friday. I think most of you will probably be busy either digitally, Black Friday shopping, or spending your Thursday and Friday with your families. Make sure you guys are safe and cautious because living in crazy times. But, don't get too crazy now, guys. Don't want to hear any sad stories of my viewers running into that nasty COVID-19. So, but yeah, so next week, episodes on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. There will be no episodes on Thursday and Friday in observance of Thanksgiving Day. If you're Canadian, yeah, hey, I don't know what to tell you, guy. We observe American Thanksgiving here. Not that there's anything wrong with Canadian Thanksgiving. I have a lot of Canadian friends who celebrate Thanksgiving. I hear it's pretty awesome. So, but yeah, that's a programming note so you guys know. So, as you can see right now, this is a Greater Rift 70, and we are pretty much just dealing with things with ease. And yet again, this is not a fully optimized Blizzard Hydra build. We could have a better Winter Flurry. We don't have an Ancient Legendary version of it on our particular armor set. We could have more rare Ancient Legendary rare pieces for our Hydra build. We could have a rare Tascadafio. Despite all those things, just thanks to all the damage modifiers and the buffs that Hydra got in Season 22, I am saying this is pretty good, because if I can do this really unoptimized in a Greater Rift 70, and I'm tearing through this, this is going to be at least a 4 to 5 minute clear time at the very least in Greater Rift 70 unoptimized. I'd say this has a very good possibility of actually becoming a S-tier armor build in the future if it's not already recognized by the time of this particular video's posting. Alright, where's that pesky Rift Guardian? Strategy here, cast Blizzard, cast 2 of them. Then I'm going to use Flame Ward thanks to Death Wish. It's going to buff those 2 Hydras, so that's a perfect situation as to why you use Death Wish and Flame Ward here, just to supplement and add more damage to those Hydras when you get to higher Greater Rifts. Alright, so I'm going to augment some gems here. And that's pretty much going to do it for us today, guys. As always, thank you so much for the support. The last, 2 months, 3 months that we've been doing Diablo 3 videos on the channel. I cannot thank you guys so much for the support. Always very floored by the amount of people who've watched certain videos. I'll make sure to keep an eye on which particular classes you like more. So I'll focus a bit more on those in the future, because obviously I see you like Whirlwind Barbarian, you like Legacy of Dreams, Necromancer, so I'll probably do more of those videos well in the future. So, that's it. This is the Blizzard Hydra build. Thanks for watching. Make sure to give us a like and subscribe, and I'll see you Monday for the next Diablo 3 video.